Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Coffee Moaning. Have you just made yourself a coffee? Oh, Mark, don't come over here. Mark. He's such a child. He's sticking things in his trousers. If you're listening on podcast, Mark has now put a chili pepper on his trousers, mimicking a penis for some reason. It's because he's 5.
Chilly, Willie.
If you were to put an age on Mark, okay, so we know he's whatever he is, age, but when he's being like that, what age, for anybody that has sons, because we've never had sons.
I've had me.
What age is he as a son?
5.
I think 5.
5.
I know some people might say 3. What age do you think he is, guys?
Maybe a bit older than 5.
Not older than 5.
Yeah, 7.
God, look at that dead healy hair.
God, you do this every time. If I was to humiliate you about some crevice somewhere,
I'm warning you, like if I had spinach in my tooth.
Oh my God, look at that great big something or other.
No, but it's all right. You've put it back now because people might think they're being attacked by your.
I think I have to thread it back in. Francisca Bastos says I'm 12. Georgina Demetriou says 8. Sarah Withington 7.
Tracy Street says between 5 and 7. Emma Margaret says 4.
Elaine Upright says her partner is about 8.
8.
Stacey 269 5 to 10.
Wow, you'd take him right up to 10. What, putting a chili pepper
Jenny
in his
Marshall,
trousers
it's great to be
childlike.
It wasn't trying. Well, it was. It was.
Why else were you putting?
9 years old with much older siblings. DK. I always wanted an older sister. It's funny. That's why I feel so fond of Dina.
But doesn't everyone say that? We all girls want an older brother. It says that you can meet older girls
Most people
and
have
older
siblings,
boys.
so they don't say it.
No, that everybody wants the sibling that they didn't have. Oh. We always wanted brothers.
Vixen DD. Mark, I do love you. I've got a boy who is 17 and I miss the 5-year-old.
Oh. But do you know what? Now when I think about it, I probably wouldn't want a brother because I think if I had to see a brother go through heartache, I don't think I'd be able to take it. Like if a girl broke my brother's heart, I'd be in a mess. I wouldn't be able to bear it.
Of course, I've got 2 half brothers and a half sister somewhere, which is always a strange thought sometimes.
Yeah.
I think I'm the most annoying of all of them still.
Probably.
I've just got a sense of that. I always wanted an older brother, says Natasha Mulder. Sending you love, Natasha. I hope you're well. Love to you and all your family in Israel.
Good Toffee.
Yeah. Toffee trying to be happy. Toffee's in a...
She's in a weird mood.
She's already contributed to some of the vlogmas that we've shot. She's a miserable cow. But very funny. My brother is protective of me. So I have to pause for a second. The aroma de garlic is so overpowering. It's so strong. And I have never been privy to the oddest sibling birthday moment as filming the Curly Cooks yesterday. You're going to see it this Saturday. It was strange.
Can you smell my garlic from where you are?
Yes.
Well, I did tell you to have some.
Oh, my God. Yes. Wow, it's like, and you've nicked my glasses.
Well, listen, I'm not allowed to mention your eyebrow, but you can sit there saying that I stink.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, that's precisely why I do. Chin chin.
He always has the choice to have the beautiful meal that we're having, because if you eat garlic too, you don't smell the garlic.
Hang on a minute.
But you chose to have a prawn curry from the Chinese, so that's your tough.
So I just want to say a big thank you to our lovely Clodagh,
so
Linda, Creatorholic, and Fiona. Take it easy.
That's our birthday
on your birthday. And you got the same, didn't you? From
so beautiful.
All of
Thank
them.
So thoughtful.
To Nads. Happy birthday, Nads, from Clodagh, Linda, and Fiona Reid. Although, let's face it, your names are never that brief on here, are they? There you go. Lovely cards. Thank you so much. A few other bits and bobs have arrived, and we will be opening shortly. So thank you very much.
But stop.
Send us anything. Cards are very sweet. We love cards. They're lovely. The last Curly Cooks were the best. I loved all the Arabic recipes, says Alicia.
Thank you. Well, you wait till you see this Saturdays. As I say, it's pre-record because it's my birthday on Saturday, so I'm not actually going to work on my birthday.
Cool. Oh, look, Natasha Milchin, thanks so much, Mark. Just to let you know, I got back to Tel Aviv the other day to find your card in my mailbox. Yay!
Oh, brilliant.
As I was sending it off, I was thinking, oh my God, I hope this gets through everything. It's weird, isn't it? I suppose post maybe is one of those things that just gets through everything. I'm so pleased, Natasha, and I hope you're safe and I hope you're well. And love to you and all your family. Francesca Bastos, my sister has an older sister, me, and I don't think she's thrilled. She's the married with a child, and now I'm the single childless 32-year-old older sister the whole family likes to shame.
Oh God, that's awful.
I'm sorry that went from us being sort of light-hearted with you to...
Well, it's because we had laughing emojis.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. Well,
shame for not having a family. Oh, that's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe there's even gallows humour in there too. Anna Marie Shellard, Nadia, just wondered if you heard of the research behind mushrooms and ADHD. Very interesting.
No, I haven't.
It seems to me that mushrooms are great for everything.
But I will have a look into it.
Having a good time and everything. Siobhan, you've not received your card yet. Whole heap of cards. We're pretty much up to speed. We've got I think we've got something like 56 to go out this week, and then we should be on top of it. So everyone should have received their... If you haven't by then unless you have recently hit 2 years, obviously if you've hit 2 years in the last couple of months, for those family guests... and we're doing new cards. We're going to do some... I'm doing some new cards for Christmas.
Can I have a look at the photo you choose this
members
time?
Are going to win. Some members are going to have chances to win Christmas cards. So how about that?
Right. So today, what are we going to be talking about?
You tell
Mr.
me.
Adderley. No, you go.
Well, the news have broke only about 15 minutes ago about Rwanda, the Rwanda judgment. Now, the Rwanda judgment is this idea of deporting, asylum seekers to Rwanda. It was a big mainstay of Sawalha Braverman, our outgoing Home Secretary's mission to control immigration. Rishi Sunak sort of nailed his colours to the mast of it too. It's been thrown out by the Supreme Court, so we're going to briefly talk about that. We're going to talk about the word ceasefire and how the word ceasefire has become astonishingly weaponised. And we're going to be talking about the Labour Party. The Scottish National Party have brought in an amendment to the King's speech where they want an immediate call for a ceasefire. The Labour Party are pushing back against this. I think we understand and expect the Conservatives to push back against this because their position is not to call for a ceasefire, but for humanitarian pauses. So we're going to talk about that. Liberal Democrats, incidentally, just at this point, are the only party to declare they want a ceasefire, like the SNP. We're also going to be talking about the lesbian mothers in Italy who are pushing back in court because of this push to have only the biological gay parent on the birth certificate. And we're going to be looking at smartphones versus dumb phones. And if we have time, we're going to be looking at cozy cardio.
I think we've got to do cozy exercise. So something else will have to be dropped.
Okay, well, maybe... Okay,
I've only just
maybe smartphones and dumb phones will drop.
Yeah, we'll drop that.
Just briefly on that, the idea behind the smartphone and dumb phone, which I think is quite a good one, is the idea that everyone basically is given a phone like Nanny Dies, where you can do bugger all on it.
So let's just quickly do that story. So this is, there's always stories popping up, isn't it? How we can reduce how to reduce our phone time, how to help your children reduce phone time. First and foremost, they said, if you are not going to reduce yours, do not expect your child. Absolutely. You are the biggest influencer on how much your child uses their phone. Also, again, depending on age, if you're taking away the phone, replace it with something else. Most children, if you offer them anything or you offer them proper play with their parents, they will choose play every time. You offer them a present, you offer them anything, but if you get down on your hands and knees or you get into their music or whatever, they're going to choose that. There is nothing as sweet and delicious to a child than their parents being 100% engaged in what they're doing, which is very, very difficult because we've all got a million things to do. And sometimes it's just bloody boring playing with kids. Unless
one of the memes that Maddie showed me in the No Name Sunday show that just passed this weekend, which was quite funny, was yes, there's nothing better to a child than their undivided attention or availability of a parent. But as this one meme said, it was very funny. I can't remember it, but it was a meme that demonstrated the moment you realise time with your parents is turning into virtue signalling yet again.
Everything's a lesson. Yeah. So proper play. So all of that. And then all the stuff that we all know and don't pull off most of the time. But also to reduce that apparently more and more kids are asking for dumb phones.
That's true.
Because they're wanting a bit more of a break. And the dumb phone, I really like this idea. And I think I'm going to get one for myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
But is it a dumb phone that works? Or is it just
all you do is message. So it's WhatsApp, Instagram and phone calls. No ability to have any apps.
So, but then do you need to have 2 SIM cards?
I don't know about the detail of it, but I really like the idea of it. I suppose you would have the pay as you go on it, would you? So say like you really wanted a day off from your phone, because you get, like me, I get trapped into looking into other apps, looking into Instagram, looking into recipes, which honestly I can lose hours looking at bloody food stuff. But you just want to be contactable. You take your dumb phone out.
You take your what phone out?
Your dumb phone.
Your dumb phone.
When you're socialising, take your dumb phone.
Take your dumb phone. It sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? This is a good statistic.
Here it is.
Look, sales of dumb phones have risen by 5% in 2022, with tech experts attributing the rise to teenagers seeking to regain independence from technology. Or, as they say here, give them a retro lesson in how to use your landline. I don't think the day of the landline will ever come back.
No, I don't. Because it's about being out and about, and whether we like it or not, we have now become, it's an evolutionary moment where humans have to be available every single second to every single person they know, and that is not going to work with a home phone.
Well, I've noticed I've started to do this thing on my Instagram where I put it on sort of sleep, or something. It starts to, I can do stuff on it, but it doesn't tell me when stuff's coming in, or do you know what I mean? It doesn't.
It's not really I haven't had any notifications on my phone for ages. Right. Bloody moths, guys, look.
Oh, mate.
But it's me. I go looking. I'll just start scrolling. So, would anybody want that? Would anybody else here want a dumb phone?
Alicia says,
look, we have dumb phones.
It does as much as your old phone would have done before you got a smartphone in the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
We have done remote controls for our little one. Remote controls that don't really turn the telly off.
Oh, yeah, we used to do that with the girls.
That's a good one. My 21-year-old wants one just for calls and messages. No.
Wow, you see?
Oh.
Wow, Georgina, thank you.
Nikki Bull, I'm addicted to my phone, but I'm single, so it's my lifeline to chat to friends and feel connected to the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, has the smartphone kind of made too much of an inroad into every aspect of our life? I know we use it as a defense of the smartphone, i.e. we do so much on it.
Oh, somebody just answering your answer there. No, just one SIM card. Sorry, I don't know who it was.
Oh, sorry, I lost it. Faith, we gave our son a dumb phone when he was a teenager to take to school. Neat. I've switched off all my notifications on Insta, says Zoe. Makes me feel less stressed.
Yep. Absolutely.
What's
Faith remembering our lovely wooden box?
Faith, remember you got a lovely wooden box.
I get that wooden box out.
Don't get it out
about
again.
Every month.
There's stuff in it,
and
that
then
needs to be staying there.
I know.
You just
calm.
I'm not calm. I'm not calm.
And yet, do you know what, Faith? No phone yet has even gone in there for 1 second. How many? 3 or 4 years ago we bought that. It was in the pandemic. Garlic, sorry.
It's okay. Is that maybe if we got like a COVID mask or something? Oh my God, it's
well, you know what you could have done? Had dinner last night.
Why is it incumbent on me? Why could you have not eaten so much garlic?
Because when garlic is made, you have to eat it as a family, so nobody smells.
That's a little bit tyrannical, isn't it?
Tough.
Minky Moo, my 13-year-old has an iPhone, but I have really strict lesson time locks on there.
Wow. Have you seen the advert? We were laughing so much yesterday.
It's by Instagram.
There was this an advert. It's by Instagram on this new something that you can do that the phone automatically switches off. I don't know, whatever time. And they've got this family, and there's this like about 15-year-old boy, and he's just sat by his mum, she's sat on the sofa on the phone. Everyone's on their phone, and then suddenly their phones go off because they're using this app. And the boy just goes, oh, and puts it down and starts to study.
Yeah.
The woman puts it down and just picks up a book. You're like, what?
What's really funny is this
the girls were laughing their heads off. I said, we've got to do a parody of this.
I see everyone around the telly of an evening. We all do this. So we'll all be like that. And we'll all be like, oh, come on, this is a really good bit in the show. And so you're the telly. I'm going to watch. You're the telly. I'm watching you. It's like someone could say, oh, there's a really good bit.
It's a really good bit.
Okay, hang on. Let me just send that.
No, you've missed it. No. Rewind it. Somebody pick
No, hang on. Let me just
I'm
putting my phone down. Then we rewind it. And as I'm watching it.
Yeah, because those other people have already watched it.
And they're rewinding it. So you're looking for every little snatch of time, aren't you?
Terrible.
Sorry.
Okay, so.
What?
Dumb phone? No, because I'm just mindful of the time. We can't be too long.
Cozy. Well, okay. So, what do you want to go for next then?
Well, let's put cozy exercise after something. Let's go to something horrible.
You're really foregrounding this. You're really foregrounding this. We're making this a seamless part of the live, aren't you?
Let's do a horrible bit of news. I like to sandwich things.
Nice. Okay. Well, we've kind of talked about Rwanda. The Rwanda judgment has happened. So the Supreme Court has passed down its judgment. They've said 5 judges unanimously backed the judgment in the Court of Appeal that the policy was unlawful for this reason: the risk that asylum seekers sent to Rwanda would be returned to their own country and face persecution in breach of their human rights. Now, yeah, as they say in the Telegraph, a major blow for the Prime Minister, a major blow for Sawalha. This will give strength, I think, to Sawalha's feeling that I think she saw this coming, which is why she sent her letter in yesterday. You know, we haven't talked about that. Her incredibly sort of schoolmarmly letter to Rishi.
Wow.
I mean, I haven't had much to say for Rishi, but I thought on the receiving end of that, I thought, hell hath no fury.
There's a bit of a history with that, though, isn't it? With Tory ministers that leave like they should leave like with blistering attacks.
But why is there this sort of headmistress, sort of self-anointed kind of, you know, you're a disappointment? I mean,
you're a terrible disappointment. These weren't ideas made up at a dinner party. Having a jab there,
because they probably were.
Well, no, she's having a jab at Blair and what's his name.
No, but probably the funny thing was they weren't made at a dinner party. They were probably made at an illegal COVID party whilst they were all dancing in terrible
and
Christmas
cheese
jumpers.
And pineapple. What do people think about the Rwanda decision? Obviously, as you would know, our position in that is that we're really pleased about that, because I just feel really uncomfortable with the idea of, and especially when you've got well, now she's gone, thank God, but a Home Secretary saying things like, being gay is not enough reason to ask for amnesty, because the complete misunderstanding of what it is like in so many countries across the world to be gay.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I think people are persecuted in Rwanda for it, aren't they?
Exactly. So that is a real worry. But the many worries. So we were actually really pleased for loads of different reasons that this has been turned down. But now, is it not the case that we might be taken out of the European Convention?
Well, no, I think her suggestion is that her line on this is, let's just pull ourselves out of the European Convention on Human Rights altogether, and let's just
don't have to have this irritation of them deeming what we're doing is against human rights.
Yeah, but it is the UK Supreme Court that's ruled this. So it doesn't necessarily just mean that because you come out of the European Convention on Human Rights that you can just do something. If the challenge happens in your own courts and your own courts uphold it, then you've got a problem. And I think all that needs to happen here is this, for most people who believe that the immigration problem in this country is and don't get me wrong, I think immigration is a really tricky topic, like so many things, like the Israel-Palestine thing. It's much more complicated than just, yes, let everyone in, or no, don't let anyone in. I think those two polar opposite positions are easy to stand by and electioneer on, keep them all out or stop them all or make it difficult. And we shouldn't be, on the one, you have to have controls of some form. You have to have a system of some form. Otherwise you do run the risk of entirely diluting your structural system. I mean, it's a simple fact. You can't have open borders. I mean, you literally can't. And to not have open borders doesn't mean you're anti-migration. There just has to be some sort of humane checks and balances. And I think the feeling around the Rwanda policy was that it was a non-humane checks and balance. But
also, it's not this thing. And, I'm like many of you here. I have no education on politics. I am fairly new to taking as deep an interest as I have, over maybe the last, 10 years or so.
Could I just ask, can I move this down, or you've moved it to here?
No, I just wanted to read it at some point.
Yeah.
And sorry, I don't know what I was saying then.
Sorry. I just didn't. Sorry,
completely lost it.
My goodness, politics, feeling. Is it this one you want?
Oh, this is what I was going to say. But there's been a lot said that actually this whole Rwanda idea has been a bit of red meat because it's incredibly expensive, the idea of it, and actually there aren't that many people that could be sent there, even if it had come across as
Faith Goodman
legal.
said only 500 were. I mean, I think the idea was, terrible idea, says Faith Goodman. I didn't realise only 500 were ever going to be sent there. I thought the idea was to send nearly all of them. But I think baked into this idea was that if they worked for that first 500, you would certainly see an expansion.
Yes, you would do. But it's. I mean, what it's cost so far is just eye-watering, isn't it? Absolutely eye-watering.
Proponents of it would argue the costs have only come about due to the challenges.
Right, but even before that, I mean, Labour were quite strong on how much it was all going to cost. But also, you know, the thing is, we have got a lot of people here waiting for decisions on whether they can, you know, move to this country or not. And, you know, many of them want to work and don't want to be in these, you know, often cockroach infested hotels. I know that the Daily Mail would have you believe that everybody here is in a 5-star, 4-star hotel. That's not the situation. And they want to work. And we have a real crisis with having enough workforce. So I think that is maybe what we should be, you know, focusing on more. And like you say, a better system, so people aren't here waiting for years and years and years before their case is even looked at.
I hate to raise the bugbear. I think, you know, a collective task with Europe. You know, we don't hide the fact that we were sort of pro, you know, Remainer, we were Remainers and all that. You know, I just think, you know, share the burden with Europe. I mean, a problem shared is a problem not necessarily halved, because that doesn't work, does it? But it's certainly, you know, everyone take responsibility for it. And I think, you know, we have to also acknowledge that this is a problem that's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger because of the global network of problems and the economics and global warming. You know, all these things. If we pretend that this is just a sort of 5-yearly electioneering topic, it's going to become more and more extreme as we go further into time, you know, and into the future. It's just going to become a bigger and bigger problem. And, you know, it's, you know, we have to think about, and, you know, it's easy to kind of get hysterical about, you know, international aid to these countries. Why is it relevant when we're struggling here? Yeah, absolutely strong argument. But you could, you know, the humanitarian, egalitarian, globalist kind of attitude to that is only by helping in far corners of the world and supporting infrastructure elsewhere where we've kind of, if you like, you know, we've gobbled up most of the resources for our empire and getting us to be the two nations that can dictate global policy, essentially, the US, the UK, and Europe, if you like. Then, you know, unless we embrace that a little bit more, this is just going to this is a bigger problem. But you can either go the sort of inhumane, let's whip up hatred, fear, and hostility and racism, or we go the route of, Jesus, we're all humans, we're all on this planet together. Let's try and think of a way that we can all share the burden.
Wow.
Two different ways.
There's so many situations that could be sorted out. Like
Funny that kind of brings us to the ceasefire, doesn't it? Oddly, in a sort of
should we do cozy exercise?
Let's do cozy exercise. Yeah, I've got a warm image here.
Have any of you heard about cozy exercise? Now, this is funny actually, because I didn't know this was a thing.
Cozy cardio,
massive thing on TikTok. Cozy cardio. And actually, I do a bit of cozy. I'm not going to just say cozy. I do cozy. I've naturally fallen into doing cozy exercise. It's this bloody box under here. Why do you keep looking behind you? You know it's the box.
Is it you?
You keep going, oh, what's that sound when it's clearly
annoying you ever so slightly? It's quite clear, as your director on Loose says, it's quite clearly apparent when you're annoyed or bored. And I'm annoying the fuck out of you this morning. I don't know
now
why.
You are.
Yeah.
Don't be so pathetic. Oh. Good. I hope you hurt yourself.
No, there was something else out here.
There is nothing out there. He was doing that thing like, oh, has anybody put the heating on? He was doing that. You know, that thing that men do.
God almighty. Get her ADHD drugs quick.
Oh my God. If I were to bring up your mental health medication and throw it in your face, what would happen?
Yes, we do all the time.
Never have.
You taken your meds?
You're the only person that ever says that.
It's always
no, I haven't, because there's a bloody shortage forever.
Happy birthday, Linda. Go on, cozy cardio.
So has anybody heard of cozy cardio? Has anybody followed it? So I think this was started by one particular influencer, so it says on TikTok, and it's become a massive thing. And apparently, you know, they're trying to attribute all sorts of, you know, meaningful body acceptance stuff to it, but I think it's a tenuous link. Like, you know, women feel like they have to look a certain way and they go to the gym and then they feel intimidated, which is true. All those things are true, but cozy cardio to me, and I've got to do a parody of this, seems like a way to not really do exercise, but look like you're doing exercise. Did you have one of the videos that we could show them from TikTok? Okay. So picture the scene. Now,
why don't I perform what you describe?
Well, I don't think you can. You can't. You've got to make hot drinks and everything. So,
yeah, I can do that.
Have you seen these? No, Mark, because you're just going to be pulling focus. It's annoying. I'm trying to tell them.
So I'm trying to entertain as well.
No, you're not.
Rather, you just sit there describing something we can't see. So I can make a cup of tea.
I really, really don't like you.
I don't like
I really don't. Can you just shut up for a minute?
Do it. Go on.
Oh my God.
Ding dong, round 3. Oh.
That's my garlic from last night. Oh, dragon. Oh. So cozy cardio is. Have you ever seen these running machines? They're not a running machine. They're just one flat piece. So you just open them up. They flatten down. You can pop them under your sofa. And then you open them up, and you can walk on them and walk and walk and walk. So you've got your flattened out walker. There's no handle to it. There's nothing. It's like this. It looks like this, but you put it on the floor. Okay. Then all these TikTok videos, you get your nice cozy socks on, right? Cozy socks on, cozy jumper. You close the curtains. You put candles on.
Basically, you're going to bed.
You put some incense. At this time when I was watching, I was like, oh, yeah, and now just like a box of chocolates and
bottle of wine. Glass of wine.
In fact, they do it all the other way around. So it's hot drinks, so like a chocolate with marshmallows or an oat coffee or a matcha.
Charge up the rampant
all the
rabbit.
TikTok, Instagram things. Then you get in all your cozy wear, and then you choose your movie, and they say something like something really wholesome, and then it's like a wholesome movie, and then they open out their walking machine, and they're literally like this, just walking, watching the film in cozy socks, drinking hot.
Francesca Bastos says this is almost sounding sexy. Why don't you just have sex?
Check it out. Look on TikTok and put cozy cardio. Oh, God. I mean, it is so right for a piss take.
Let's do it.
It's very funny.
I want to do cozy cardio.
But you're like, oh, God, yeah. But then some of them have made it cozy cardio through the day. So some of them now are putting on the socks and everything and walking all day long.
I feel like I've got into some kind of alternate
universe.
So like,
instead of working on their computer sitting down, they're just walking all day long in cozy socks.
Okay, as Chloe Georgina Reynolds says, well, it's walking still, isn't it? I mean, it's walking in cozy socks. So basically, it's like relax in a nice cozy room.
No, because they're walking.
Yeah, but the walking isn't. That's the cardio. That's the cardio bit of coziness.
But actually, on some days when I'm feeling really like vulnerable or just like edgy.
Dawny Harvey says she's been doing it for years.
Yeah, but Dawny, you haven't been walking. You've just been sitting on the sofa, haven't you?
You don't know. Maybe
you've got to walk. This is the point. This is the point. And I have to say, I started searching for those walker things because I thought, I would like to walk the whole time I'm watching telly in the evening, but I have to sit down.
Oh, flipping hell. You're annoying enough to watch television with, let alone with you. Walk.
This is really good.
God, it's so...
raw garlic every night.
It's so effective. Hang on. Don't do it again because I will vomit.
If your partner is just a bit too frisky and you don't have the same energy, just eat garlic.
I'm not exaggerating. She might turn the other way. Now it's awful. Oh God! Oh my God! Your cleavage smells of it. Everything.
There we go. Mark, now stop showing off. Get your hand off. Did you know he had his hand on my bum then? Mark's not in an attractive position. You knew that would get him sitting. I know him so well.
I don't like you today.
I don't like you. That is part of marriage. Having whole days.
Your sister didn't like you on your curly cooks either, did she?
It's so funny. Honestly, I can't tell you. Make sure you watch Curly Cooks on Saturday. It's so funny.
Bloody hell. Okay, so that was cozy cardio, which is basically wrap up warm in a nice cozy lounge and walk around a lot.
But you're gonna you are not gonna be able to resist, guys, are you? Going and looking on TikTok to look for cozy.
I'm gonna do my version of it too. You do your version. I'm gonna do my version too. Cozy cardio.
But I do that with yoga sometimes. I'll get loads of blankets. I put big cozy socks on for the beginning and for the meditation. meditation, and it makes me feel so much better. Mark, Mark, if you do, it's over. If you can fart to order, that in itself is enough to finish with you.
Who remembers in the 70s a French performer who would fart tunes on stage?
No, I don't want to know. Well, I think Dina could do that.
I think Dina can. She's not a ventriloquist. She's a flatulenquiloquist. Okay, I don't know how we segue from that to.
Oh look, garlic in German is Knoblauch.
You're a huge Knoblauch.
Knoblauch. I like the German word for bra, Bustenholter.
Oh,
it's a bust holder.
It's a Bustenholder.
Bustenholder.
Sorry, it's quite evocative, isn't it?
Idiot.
Well, you're the one who's using a weapon of mass destruction. Good God. Oh, just stop it. This is awful. Okay, without wishing to make light of anything, let's get to ceasefire because we need one. This is serious. So this is the. I've kept it up, Mark, fart in the face. We want to know what you think. Do you think...
You're enough about what we think. Yeah. I want to know what you think.
What do you think of the need to call... Should we call for a ceasefire? Yes or no? I can't do a poll because we're on StreamYard. So should there be a ceasefire?
Just a simple yes or no. Would you vote for a ceasefire today if you had the chance?
Jackie Villino just quickly says, I guess the fisherman jumper vibes have worn off. Thank you. It didn't last long, did it?
Jackie, don't try and make trouble.
Okay. Lots of yeses coming through.
Yes for a ceasefire. Okay.
It's strong. Yeah, okay. So this is the situation.
Well, that's a good question, Laura Lou.
Israel.
Someone tell me who has the final say. Well, you say no. Israel, but is any country really free from what America decides?
Well, hang on a minute. Let's also not forget Israel and Hamas are at war. So it's a good point insofar as who starts the ceasefire. Now, you could argue, some are, that it's all well and good asking Israel to ceasefire, but who's asking Hamas to ceasefire too?
What is the situation? Do we know on how many? Because obviously, you know, the rockets have been going 24/7.
There are rockets being fired
in Gaza. What is the situation back?
Well, there are occasional rockets being fired. Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think yesterday 3 were intercepted by the dome, the Iron Dome, is it?
Yes.
Over Tel Aviv. I think three were fired. So I think again, it's the feeling there is about proportionality, and in terms of ceasefire, it's a ceasefire. I'm calling for a ceasefire to stop the killing of all innocents.
That's why I want a ceasefire, whether it be the innocent Palestinians, because please do remember that being a Palestinian doesn't mean you're a terrorist. And there seems to be a real confusion here with that for some people. It doesn't mean that, you know, and also a ceasefire for the aid workers, the hostages, the charity workers, the doctors that have come from all over the world. I mean, you know, on social media, you will see these doctors pleading for a ceasefire, and God, I mean, just every language in the world. So I think I always say it's with. Oh, of course, my father is Jordanian. You know, I am very proud of my Arabic heritage. It is a big part of me and of my family, and we feel that very, very deeply and keenly. But all my desires for a ceasefire are about being a human being, just having a human heart that goes, what? I mean, we've been watching we watch lots of other channels, you know, so we've been seeing the absolute horror from day one. And I think, you know, a lot of people don't want to look at that, and mainstream media won't post that. But everybody now has seen the incubators, the babies being brought out of the incubators. And so anybody now that is saying there shouldn't be a ceasefire has to question themselves, I think.
Well, I tell you what, as complicated as, I'm pleased you asked that question, as complicated as calling for a ceasefire could be and can be in the nitty gritty of this, because of course there's the idealism, isn't there, of calling for a ceasefire, and then there's the nitty gritty reality of calling for a ceasefire. Israel's argument is run as that if you call for a ceasefire, it will allow Hamas to rearm, re-weaponize, regroup, and then re-assault. And Hamas have made no secret of saying they would like to attack again. Where this gets really complicated is let's just, I mean, if we can, let's park Gaza to the side for 1 second. So since October the 7th, I think 175 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank, where Hamas don't rule. So let's use that as a kind of test case. And what's happening in the West Bank as well is illegal occupation, settlements, the killing, the removing, and the destruction of Palestinian communities, the sort of propaganda war of encouraging many people in the West Bank to leave the West Bank and go to Jordan. So ceasefire, that was going on when ceasefires have been called in the past. So depending on your point of view, to the Palestinians, no ceasefire has been observed because that's still going on. Do you get me? It's
very complex.
It's much more complex. So you could argue, yes, of course, it requires Hamas not to fire any rockets, as it requires Israel to stop bombardment and invasion and attack. It would be nice, I think, if perhaps, both Jeremy Corbyn would acknowledge that Hamas is a terrorist organization that committed terrorist acts, as much as it would be nice that Israeli troops don't land on the beach with their sunshades on and cucumbers on their eyeballs, sort of going, hey, we're back on the beach in Gaza. Both deeply insulting and disrespectful to both communities and both cultures, I think, equivalently on each side.
Exactly, Faith.
And I think what's important about this whole debate around the ceasefire is the balance of power. And at the moment, the balance of power is clearly steered in one direction. The hostages do need to come out. There's lots of stories that aren't gaining traction in the Western press about how the hostage families and the hostages, many ceasefire deals have been struck with Benjamin Netanyahu, and then he's walked back. He's kind of scrolled back from them. So there's frustration because, believe it or not, they've been much closer to negotiating the release of the hostages than they would have us think. So,
and the families now they're marching, aren't they? Marching to Tel Aviv to demand for President Netanyahu to engage with them on what is happening and calling for, quite understandably, I would be exactly the same, to negotiate, get it done, give them fuel if they want fuel, give them this if they want, stop the bombardment, but just get our families out of there. And, so wherever you're looking from it, a ceasefire is the answer, really, because where will it end? Otherwise, when will it end? How many more thousands of people? And so Keir Starmer coming out with what he's saying today, Minky Moo just said there that her husband said he's not going to vote. Did you say not going to vote for Labour again because of Keir Starmer's stance on this?
Well, almost our conversation, you could argue our conversation has just highlighted how complicated the idea of a ceasefire is. But where it becomes really not complicated is that you call for it and then you iron out the details afterwards.
Because it's saying that you care,
that's my point on it. And my point on it is yes, this is the caveats are Hamas, how they observe any ceasefire, Israel, how they observe any ceasefire. In the West Bank, where Hamas aren't, because let's not forget the Western press would have us think that the West Bank is the same. There is an antipathy on both sides of the kind of cultural divide, isn't there? There's a feeling, I just popped up your post. I hope you saw April Spooky? Yes, there is a feeling in Israel and Hamas have declared that they don't want the state of Israel to exist. That is patently absurd, ridiculous, and awful. But that doesn't mean every Palestinian wants that. It also doesn't necessarily mean every member of Hamas wants that, because they are fighting for what they feel is theirs. So, so I think calling for a ceasefire sends out a clear, moral, humanitarian message, after which all of these details have to be negotiated. I mean, I was thinking this morning as they were going into...
They've been trying to negotiate these details for the last bloody 75
years. Well, yeah, and every time they get close, we're not being told how close they're getting and then what's actually falling at the end. One final thing I was just thinking about, this argument, which I take real umbrage with, which is if there are tunnels beneath the hospitals of Hamas, this makes them a justified target. I disagree with this entirely, because what I think you have to do, and you have to strategize, and you have to pause and take a breath, you have to think to yourself, okay, we've got the situation down to now 3 rockets, admittedly, coming out of, say, Gaza, being intercepted. But there shouldn't be any rockets. Granted,
because you might not know that there's this dome,
Iron
Dome over Tel Aviv, which not all of them, but can deflect many of the rockets.
Wouldn't a more strategic approach to, say, the hospital be to surround it, to, in a sense, be able to kind of close off, whether it be tunnels or whatever the access points are, close off those tunnel points and only allow in through blockade and road access?
This is what I don't understand. If you're sure where they are, do that. Don't bomb the whole hospital. Don't go in with snipers. I can't understand how that can be justified.
Well, and unfortunately, I do think it's a little bit, what's that phrase? Using a mallet to crack a nut. I mean, I think what needs to be called for, and I don't think we'll ever necessarily know diplomatically how much of this has been being called for, is that if they want to go in, if they need to go into hospitals because they feel that's where perhaps the hostages are being held, it's perhaps where Hamas have got these tunnels. I mean, interestingly, Sean King has published a piece in 2014 underneath the Al-Shifa Hospital today. There is a tunnel. They know there is one there because apparently they built it. They built the hospital. The infrastructure was helped to be constructed by Israel back in 2014. And so, so if there's an awareness of this, there must be a way of, in a sense, not besieging a hospital so it doesn't have life, but protecting it from the outside and protecting it from within the inside, and then sitting and then allowing that proof to develop that if there is someone there who's shooting, you then perhaps call in America and go, look, there's a guy, they're firing rockets out of this hospital. We've got it surrounded. We've made it secure. What do we do? And in that way, Israel would be able to sort of present to the world a sort of inhospitable, inhumane sort of use of. Do you know what I mean? I think there are different ways of doing this. I just think there are different ways of doing this.
And there are very, very smart and conciliatory people in the Middle East that want to find a way. For instance, the Jordanian, thank you, Francisca, the Jordanian royal family, my father's Jordanian, seems so considerate and humane. The recent interview of Queen Rania with Christian Amanpour, I love her, is brilliant. Check it out. Yeah, I've seen pieces of that. And they have, Jordan has been known, hasn't it, a bit as the Switzerland of the Middle East, always trying to be balanced and be, and yeah, I mean, there are good people on both sides. There are so many Jewish people campaigning for a ceasefire too. And there'll be many people in Israel that are sick and tired of this. And I just found it really painful when we see here it almost being, I don't know, sneered at the idea of a ceasefire.
I don't think there's any problem.
That's somehow a hateful thing. How can that be seen as a hateful thing? Unless the idea of a ceasefire means that the punishment that is supposed to be being meted out must continue. Until when? If you can't think of anybody else in this situation, but you can only think of the child hostages. Okay, if we just keep it with children, to keep all the rage that is risen, that is thrown so quickly, and just those babies taken out of the incubators. If we just think of that, and we just imagine whether Jewish or Arab, those are our people. I know it sounds so basic, but we've got to get back to some sort of sense of that we are desensitized. 5,000 children. 5,000 children have died. 200 hostages. Numbers just become like numbers. We've got to think with a human heart, how would this feel if this was mine? And
I agree, but I also think that if you've got an awful argument developing in the kitchen between two people, say me and you just then, you've got a huge argument.
Are we having a terrible argument?
I nearly farted in your face. If you've got a huge argument happening between people, in a family, what's the first thing you will do to try and calm the situation? Stop the fight. You don't stop it
and then try and
slightly.
Listen to both sides.
But you don't stop it slightly and then kind of say to half of the fight, you're kind of right to do that.
Go and have 5 minutes.
Yeah, but hit them once more.
A pause in this brutal bombardment as Doctors Without Borders, UN, Save the Children, all these really, credible organizations say that will do nothing. You just about patch what up? We can't even patch these people up enough. And then what? And then start again. It's almost like more torturous in a way, isn't it? It's like
there is that. And also, I just want to again give articulation to April Spooky X. I wish we could, as a globe, just stop Hamas. This would stop the war. I agree. Stopping Hamas, and it has to be said in the same breath, stopping the illegal settlements. We have to. It has to be recognised for what it is, because if you've got something that is going to, in a sense, radicalize a population because of the unjust unfairness of it, you're not going to be able to stop the wellspring from which something like Hamas comes from. And this isn't a complicated thought, but it seems like the world is so sucked into not looking at it in this way. I mean,
because it's uncomfortable, but we have to look at what it's like. On here, we talk so often, don't we, about the situation out on the streets of London, right? Whether that be our terrible problem with knife crime, sexual assault, and people get so angry so often, don't we? If we ever try and discuss where is this springing from? What is going on with these young people? Wow, I don't know, they're just evil bastards and they should just be, well, okay, but one thing that we know, that if children are brought up in a safe environment, a stable environment, hopefully with at least one loving adult, doesn't have to be a mum or a dad, it could be an aunt, it could be a foster, something, they are going to have a much better chance of not falling into that kind of behaviour and that kind of hell. But even here, people don't want to have that kind of discussion. They just want these people. Well, it's not going to work like that, because there'll just be more. And then there'll be more. And then there'll be more. And, when I look at terrified children with eyes like this, like absolutely what happened? And all my family has been killed and there's bombs coming down. I worry about who they will be in 10 years, 20 years time. Just like if I see, like Dina came in the other day and she'd seen a little boy and his dad walking down the hill down there, and she was really upset because the guy sort of tripped on his foot, and there was a little boy, and he turned to him, that's your fault, that's your fault. Tiny little boy, all scared on his way to school. She came in, we had a big discussion about it, didn't we? And we thought, that kind of anger put at a little child, he's going to be something else other than a really loving member of the society that is going to support, because he's been treated right from that tiny age with that kind of anger and brutality. And that is the same, whatever situation you look at in anywhere, whether it's domestic, whether it's whatever situation. We have to look at what we need to do to change the root causes of where, hate and anger and violence are coming from, if we've got any hope of changing anything.
And also,
sorry, I went on a soapbox. I didn't mean a soapbox. I mean just passionate.
Yeah,
I just feel like.
Absolutely. And I think it's really important. You're not going to negotiate anything unless you sit down on both sides of the equation and say, look, there's this on this side. There've been many attempts.
I've been close to it before.
What I would say is on both sides, with Netanyahu and with Hamas and with former organizations that have ruled Palestine and sections of Palestine, there sadly, there are vested interests in the conflict being prolonged on both sides. I assure you, on both sides. That's why Netanyahu isn't as popular as you would think, because in this country and in the US, you'd think he's the bee's knees, because of course we're supporting his policy. I mean, the wording is slightly lessening. I mean, there was a White House announcement yesterday where he said we can't say for sure if they're operating within legal parameters.
Trudeau now finally has come out and said, there's just horrible things happening. I don't want to say exact words because look it up. He made a statement yesterday, but
So but going back to the whole thing on what I think Labour vote, I think it's absolutely incumbent on them to say yes for a ceasefire. I think the way the word ceasefire has been hijacked, weaponized, and poisoned is offensive in the extreme. And I think Labour voters should absolutely be voting for a ceasefire.
I will not be voting.
And then after the ceasefire, as soon as a ceasefire is in place, that's when everyone earns their money and runs in and is diplomatic to the hill. And in that, the only country actually at the moment that's really homing in on the right thing in terms of the Palestinian side of things that needs to be dealt with for there to be progress made with. You're not going to make progress with Hamas. What you need to make progress with is a desire to go as extremist as Hamas. And that's the problem here. And the one country talking about this in the right way is Jordan, because they are homing in on where the cause of the problem is at the moment. The problem right now in the West Bank is getting worse and worse. And some are saying there's a vested interest in that. Why? We all need to ask questions, probing questions about that. So, yeah.
You know what? So often in all these kinds of conflicts, and the ex-Iranian ambassadors pleading for Iran not to be drawn into this battle, because it's always the poor people that are hit the hardest. The people actually that are just trying to get on with their day-to-day life, you know, and power crazy leaders, whether that be Hamas, Netanyahu, Biden, Rishi, whoever. They're the people playing the big games, and it's the poor people right underneath all of that that get squished in the middle. And that's not right.
Yeah.
And I feel at the moment, Keir Starmer has. I am just horrified. Was he not a lawyer for human rights?
Human rights lawyer.
I just won't vote. I just won't vote Labour if he's Labour leader. I just will not. I will be voting Liberal Democrats.
Yeah, well, they've come out for a ceasefire.
Good, because any yeah. So, anyway,
okay.
Shut up, Nigel.
Okay, there are more agony aunts and uncles coming. There are more How to Stay Marrieds coming. Oh, absolutely. So we've got a happy birthday to Linda. Happy birthday to Linda, Nadia.
1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Linda. Happy birthday to you. Squash tomatoes and garlic stew.
Yeah, oh God. And Tracy Ford, thank you for your 10 gifted memberships. 10 of you will have received a gifted membership. So I hope you enjoy the No Name Sunday show and Christmas festivities in the members area this Christmas.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell.
Okay, we're going to end through the media.